Hi, my name's Peyton Martin, and I'm going to be doing case study 21 on why a relationship won't end. And first, I want to talk about Alex. He meets this girl named Anna at work, and they've known each other for a while, but never really talked or anything except stuff you talk about at work. He sees her, and he's trying to get a job with her so he can talk to her more, and he's trying, and he finally does. So when they start hanging out at work and they're working on the same project together, they start to get closer and closer, and they're becoming more than just friends, and he wants to ask her out on a date. So he does, because he can tell that she's interested in him and he's interested in her. And so she says yes, and they start just to hang out. They go to restaurants or houses and just talk, and that was the best few months of his life. And the first few months went great, and then she started acting different. She wanted to cut back on the dates, didn't want to talk as long on the phone. So he was worried because he thought, why can't I just... She always said that she couldn't talk as much because she had other things to do, and he just didn't know why he couldn't just be involved in them too unless she was seeing someone else. So that made him kind of suspicious and kind of worrying. But she wasn't seeing anybody else. So he kind of confronts her about it, seeing somebody, and she says no. Well, then he feels bad for confronting her when it wasn't true, so he tries to apologize to her, and she's just not accepting it at all. So then he tries to win her back, by leaving flowers and notes and stuff on the desk at work, and that just wasn't working either. And whenever he would say that he loved her, she would just be like, I don't know, whenever he asked, because she would never say it back. So then at that point he was really mad, and she started avoiding even worse, and the relationship then started taking its toll on at work. They wasn't getting as much done. They wasn't able to concentrate on the task. So she just said, finally, I've had enough, and I'm just going to have to break up with you. So she does. Well, that just devastates Alex. He tried to get another chance. He begged and begged and begged for another chance because he was humiliated. He didn't know what his friends at work would think. He just didn't want to be humiliated in front of everybody. So then he decides, I'm just going to keep trying, just keep trying to get her back. Just keep on trying to get her. So he tries, and he writes her more letters again and flowers and does whatever he can. He tries to call her 2-3 times a week. If she doesn't answer, then he'll just leave a message. She posted for another job in another place, and he was just really confused by that because she was so good at what she done where she was at, and he didn't understand why she wanted to move, when she was so good at what she was doing. So then he didn't get to see her as much, and he wasn't hardly talking to her at all, and the relationship was just going way downhill. And so he pretty much just started following her around. Wherever she would go, he would go. He'd follow her home from work. He would go to restaurants he usually didn't go to just to see if she was there. He would drive by her house, see if she was there. And then one time when he drove by, he saw another car. So then he thought, okay, she's with somebody else. So he started threatening her. He would call her names, call her all kinds of names, try to talk to her on the phone, leave her awful messages, left things in her mailbox. That was not good. So then she just had enough, and she got a restraining order on him, and now him and her are not friends. They're just not getting along at all. They're really bad enemies. He thought he was kind of let on from her, and that's Alex's side. And now here is Anna's side. And when Anna first met Alex, she liked him. She thought he was cute. So she was excited at first, just like he was. And then after she had met him for a while, and she found out that he wasn't the guy who she thought. He was really strict, controlling. If they went anywhere, it was his choice. She knew after the first few days that he wasn't the one. You know, that's not who she wanted to be with. So then one time when they went, he asked if he could come over, and she said yeah. And she went to the bathroom, and when she came back, she was looking through his mail. He was looking through her mail, and that just really made her mad. As a red flag too, just let her know more that, you know, she didn't want to be with him. She made it so then she didn't want to. She wanted to break up then, but she didn't want to upset him either. So she didn't. She just drug it out and made it worse, and made him just, you know, pretty much go crazy, because she made excuses on not wanting to see him or not wanting to talk on the phone ever. So she never answered his phone calls, and he would just let it ring, and he would call her 15 minutes, and finally she picked up the phone and said, please don't call me anymore, you know. Well, that just angered him even more. You know, and then at work he was just really rude to her, and she was afraid that he would just go crazy if she did just say she was going to break up with him, because he thought that she was dating someone else. And then she mentioned to a friend that she thinks that he's stalking him, or she's stalking her, and she's kind of joking about it, but her friend, you know, looked into it and found that it happens more frequent than everybody thinks, and it's very dangerous. So that worried her even more. So then she just broke up with him, you know, and he just was really upset and got even more crazy and left her threatening, you know, messages driving by. She didn't think this was going to happen. She didn't know what she was getting herself into, and she's just really scared for her life. And now they just don't get along, and the relationship was terrible. So that's her side. I think the reason why this happened was just trust issues with him. He thought that she was doing things, you know, that she wasn't, but she was giving him reasons to think that too, by not talking as much, by not doing that, and that's not healthy in a relationship. She thought that he was somebody that he isn't, you know. This is a really bad relationship gone wrong, and just kept going wrong. She pretty much led him on by not telling him right away, you know, that, hey, you're not the one, you know. She should have just told him right away, and that might have helped on some of the craziness that he was doing. I think if she would have done that, then most of the crazy things that he was doing probably wouldn't have happened. That's about all I've got. Thanks.